Hello, Moonbeams. Welcome back. This is Mystic Moon School, and I am your astrology guide, Donna. So, we have a lot to discuss today. We have the full moon happening on Friday, November 15th, in the sign of Taurus, and we are going to be focusing a lot on that today. Definitely seeing where it's showing up in your chart based on your rising sign. But I wanted to take a couple of minutes in the beginning of this podcast before I get into the overview for the energies around this full moon. I wanted to share some thoughts that I had, that I've been having and that I've had this week, this past week, in terms of our country, the election, and how everyone is feeling. And for those of you who follow me on Instagram, I did a little video over the weekend, and I'm going to share that briefly here now for those of you who do not follow me or who are not on Instagram, because it got a really good response in terms of feeling supportive for people, and I want everyone to feel supported. So many years ago, I came across this fable from a beloved show that I used to watch. And I'm sure this fable shows up in many different cultures around the world. But in this version of the fable, it is a farmer and his son. And so I'm going to share that with you now. So there was a farmer and his son. And they lived alone and they worked the farm together. And one day, at the end of the day, the son was cleaning everything up, making sure that their one horse was corralled up, closed the gate, and went in for the evening. The next morning, when they awoke, they saw that the gate was wide open and that their one horse, was gone. And as they were standing there by the fence contemplating the situation, a neighbor began to walk by and said, "Oh no, where is your horse? What happened?" And they explained the gate must not have been closed properly and the horse is gone. And the neighbor was distraught for them and, "Oh, this is so terrible. This was your one horse and you really needed that horse." And the farmer's response was, "Well, maybe. Maybe it's terrible. Maybe it isn't." And the neighbor kind of scratched their head and went upon their way. And then everyone went back to work. The next day, the horse came back. And not only did the horse come back, but it brought with it 3 wild horses. And so now the farmer and his son took in the horses, gave them water and hay, and made sure that the gate was locked properly. And as they were doing so, the neighbor came by and said, "Oh my goodness, your horse is back, and look at this. You have 3 new horses? This is magnificent. This is unbelievable. How fortunate for you." And the farmer said, "Maybe." And again, the neighbors scratched their head and went on about their day. And later, the son was tending to the horses and noticed one of the horses was particularly spunky and wild. And so the son tried some of his techniques for training the horse. He was on the horse and the horse threw him and he landed quite harshly on the ground and he broke his arm. And they had to sling up the arm and really brace it. And while this was happening, the neighbor came by. And the neighbor said, "Oh my goodness, what happened to you? This is so terrible. How will you work? You must be in so much pain. This is just awful." And the farmer said, "Maybe." Now, the neighbor really shook their head this time, excuse me, and walked off. The next day, the soldiers from the army were coming through the town, coming through the main road, coming down to all of the farms and the little houses, and they were recruiting all men from a certain age on, young men, able-bodied men. And because the son of this particular farmer had a broken arm and a sling, they could not take him. And there was an ensuing battle that they were about to engage upon, and the son was spared because of his broken arm. And I'll end the fable there because, as you can see, it can go on and on. But I think the message here is that let us not be like the neighbor where we get caught in every moment in judgment of whether something is good or bad in the moment, because we don't really know the full picture. We don't have the eagle's eye perspective, and we do not know all the magnificent ways in which the universe orchestrates, in which the universe works for us. But we can have faith. We can trust. We can drop into our heart space and drop into the energy of love, not fear. We have a choice in every moment, and particularly the big moments in life, whether we want to drop into love, compassion, faith, trust, and the belief that we are always guided and protected, even though we may not understand what's happening on the ground. I will tell you that this time has been prophesized, and what I mean by that is by all the ancient and indigenous peoples around the world. We are ending a period of darkness, but we're at the tail end, and so the darkness is quite pronounced right now. But we as humanity and our collective consciousness, we are actually entering in the time of remembering. And there's many different sources where you can look to if you're interested in learning more about that. But I just want to share that that is the bigger picture. That is the power of maybe. The power of maybe. And so I'm not saying don't have your values and your beliefs and the things that you want to fight for and the things you want to advocate for and that you believe in. Absolutely, this is what makes us human. But what I am saying is do not get caught in the energy of fear, of despair, of hopelessness, of anger, of hatred. Everything is energy. So feel what you need to feel, but do not stay there. Do not let those energies, those darker energies, control you. Your power, your individual power, is in embodying the love, the energy of love, the energy of peace, the energy of compassion, the energy of community, the energy of helping others, the energy of kindness. This is our power. And do not underestimate the far and wide reach that this has energetically. We are creating the world and our own individual lives in every moment. In every moment. The future is not set. And so allow yourself to move through what your ego wants right now in this moment. My ego wanted a certain outcome, but at the end of the day, I really don't know how things are meant to play out for the highest and best for us all. And I trust in something bigger, and I trust in love, and I trust in the goodness of people. Overall, I truly do. So I wanted to begin this podcast with a little reset button for us all in understanding our power, in understanding there is the power of maybe, there is something bigger at play, and we can trust it. I hope that that has given you some feelings of trust and hope with that fable. Okay, so we're going to move on. I'd love to know, of course, how that may have resonated for you, or any thoughts that you may have that you may want to vent or share. Please leave a comment below. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one, just hop on over to my website, mysticmoonschool.com, and you can see my different offerings. And over on my website, actually in the shop, I have a beautiful guide to living by the moon phases that I have created for you all. It is free. You just need to download it. You can print it out. It's very pretty, and it will help assist you and guide you in the different energies of the moon phases as we move through them each and every month. Okay. So I wanted to pull a card again from the Moonology deck by Yasmin Boland. And the card that came out was the third quarter moon card. And it says adjustments are required. And so that also, I feel the fable maybe could have helped us adjust our mindset and drop back into our heart space. But I do think also this card is speaking to the full moon on Friday that is conjunct Uranus. And I'm going to talk about that for just a couple of minutes, and then we'll get into where this is showing up in your own chart. Also, I should say that this Wednesday night, I am doing Moon Zoom at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and this is where we talk about the energies of the week together live. I do record it, and if you are interested in jumping on with me and others and talking about where this is showing up in your life, how you're dealing with these energies this week, it's just a beautiful way to come together and feel supported and support others. And it's really a beautiful opportunity to come together. So if you're interested in that, you can find that as well on my website, and that's called Moon Zoom on this Wednesday evening. But the full moon that's happening on Friday is in the sign of Taurus, and it is conjunct the planet Uranus. So Uranus brings adjustments. Uranus is that electric, jolting planet. In fact, you may have trouble sleeping this week as the moon gets closer and closer to Uranus. I've already been feeling that last night. You may feel a little bit heightened anxiety in your body. If this is the case for you, get out in nature, drink lots and lots of water. Go, if you can, just take off your shoes and place your feet on the ground and earth for a little while. Maybe take a salt water bath if you have the ability to do that, or a foot soak. Whatever it is that helps you to feel more grounded, maybe the belly breathing, the baby belly breathing that I teach in my classes. I've shared with you. You simply take the breath in through your nose, you fill up your belly like a balloon, and then you want to really, really slow down that exhale through your nose again. And if you can do that for a little while, this will help regulate your nervous system, because Uranus absolutely can affect our nervous system when it is combining with the moon, our most personal planet. And so be aware of your children and how they are feeling with this full moon coming up. If you have kids or anyone else close to you, even your pets. You know, our animals really can feel these energies so instinctually. And so Uranus, what is Uranus about? Uranus is the great awakener. Uranus is the divine mind. Mercury is our human mind. And the higher octave of Mercury is Uranus, the divine mind, the God mind, those epiphanies that come dropping into our little brains, right? When we get inspiration and we make those connections and we're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I never saw it like that before. Or you're connecting the dots. Whatever it is, this is what Uranus can bring. And Uranus will awaken our consciousness sometimes in a bolt of lightning and sometimes incrementally over time into more expansive and broader consciousness levels. So this is significant. This is a significant full moon. And I feel that Taurus, Taurus is that grounded earth energy. It's the energy of embodiment. Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Venus is about pleasure, as is Taurus, and our five senses, and really this human experience that we are having here. And so the moon is in this energy of embodiment, and yet she is receptive to the divine awakenings of Uranus at this full moon. She is open to those divine downloads. She is open to those epiphanies and that next level consciousness at this full moon. When I zoom out a little bit and I look at this collectively, because, Uranus is an outer planet, and so it affects the collective as well, not just us personally. So when I zoom out and I say, well, how is this affecting the collective? It also reminds me that the moon, although it is our most personal planet, it is also representative of, quote unquote, the people. The people. And so Uranus and the moon together at this lunation. Remember, full moons are about endings, completions. And so we are completing a way of seeing things, a perspective. Uranus wants to break us free and liberate us. Okay, Uranus is the energy of revolution. Okay, and so the moon combining in Taurus the embodiment of the human experience, the people on the ground, right? Taurus. Combining with Uranus at this full moon is saying we are done. We are complete with the way that we have been seeing things, the way that we have been operating, limited by only our five senses. We are ready and we are open to this new level of awakening, this new level of perspective that Uranus is offering us at this time. And so I feel that there are going to be another round of mass awakenings of many, many humans on this planet and many, many people in the United States. Remember, the United States is going through its Pluto return. This is the energy of revolution. And when Pluto moves into Aquarius, by the way, next week on Wednesday, on Tuesday the 19th, in my view, that is the clock has begun on the age of Aquarius, the beginning, the true beginning. And then there will be many beautiful aspects that will happen over the coming years, that continue to bring in what that really means for us. And so the adjustments are required now, and Uranus is going to bring them. Okay? And so you may be experiencing a revolution in your own life. And we're going to get into that in a minute, where this is showing up in your chart. You may be awakening to something in your life, a new way of looking at things, of understanding, of knowing what you are complete with. Full moons, completion. And there's no more resistance. You know, Uranus, as I said before, wants freedom and liberation. You cannot put Uranus in a box and expect it to stay there. It will break out. And that is what we're going to be looking at in your own chart. What are you done with? What are you ready to break out of in this area of life? And embody, Taurus, a new way of being. That is what this full moon is offering us. Okay. Checking to see, is there anything else I would like to say about that? No, I think those are the main points. So I'd like to begin with Aries and 2138. Sorry, I just had to write this down for the timestamp. So for my Aries rising, and I do use a whole sign chart, but for my Aries rising, this full moon in Taurus, conjunct Uranus, is happening in your second house. Your second house of self-worth, value, what you value, your own value, but your values in life, and the money that you make. And really, if you do work outside of the home, it's like asking you, like, are you being honored for your value at your job? That is one question that may have been on your mind, and that you really are going to have clarity. I think that's one other word I'd like to attribute to Uranus, is clarity. And so you're going to have clarity around what you are done with in terms of your own self-worth, in terms of who values you and who doesn't. And you are ready to advocate, Aries, for yourself and your value, whether that is financially or otherwise. Doesn't always have to show up in the second house monetarily. But I feel that you are really entering a new level of awakening about your own value and what you bring, whether it is to a job or just in life. And you are willing now to advocate for yourself in ways that you have not done so before. Okay, so now we're going to move to Taurus. My little and for Taurus, obviously this is happening in your first house of self. And so this is all about seeing yourself in a new way. You may be having another awakening with Uranus conjunct this full moon in your sign. The first house is all about self, and it is about, yes, it can be about your physical body, but it's your sense of self. It is how others perceive you as well. And it is it's really how you see yourself. And I feel it's a more internal energy than the sun sign. So for the Taurus risings, this full moon is like, that version of yourself that you're just done with, it's complete. And you can't really show up as him or her anymore. There's a new sense of self that is emerging, and it might be in a flash with Uranus at this full moon. and you really see yourself. You have clarity around yourself and what you came here to do and who you came here to be. And you have you have a new sense of yourself at this full moon. Excuse me, I have a little froggy in my throat. Okay, so now we're going to move on to Gemini. For Gemini rising, this full moon in Taurus conjunct Uranus is happening in your 12th house of the subconscious, of solitude. The 12th house is I would say the house, this and the 8th house are really the house that goes the deepest within you. And so with Uranus here at this full moon, there may be very deep subconscious beliefs, patterns that you are complete with now. 12th house is also a house of karma in the chart. And so you may have a real sense that some big cycle in your life is complete. So just trust whatever that is for you. It's going to be different for everybody, all the Gemini risings out there. And you're going to have clarity. You're awakening. Now that could mean that there are aspects of your subconscious that you are awakening to. Things that have been, kind of sleeping in the shadows are awakening. And so this could be a new cycle of healing for you now at this time. Okay. Now we're going to move on to Cancer. And for Cancer rising, this full moon in Taurus conjunct Uranus is happening in your 11th house. The 11th house is all about your hopes, dreams for the future. It's also about friendships. It's also about groups and communities in your life. So for my Cancer risings, with Uranus here, you're breaking free of anything that's blocking your hopes and dreams for the future. You're breaking free of any groups or friendships that just do not honor who you are now. You know if that's happening for you, right? Like, you know that already. But this full moon is really going to give you tremendous clarity, real clarity. And you really just may have that epiphany and being like, you know what, I'm just done. I'm just done with this. I will say, though, that the full moon illuminates, and so you may see something that you have not seen before in the groups, communities, friendships. You may be embarking on a new group, community, or friendship at this full moon. It's being shown to you, like the path is lighting up, right? And so just take whatever seems to resonate for you at this point in your life. Whether you're ending and or beginning something, just trust whatever is coming for you at this time. Okay, now we're going to move on to Leo rising. This Taurus full moon with Uranus conjunct is happening in your 10th house, Leo. This is your most public house in the chart. It often correlates to a career. It also correlates to your purpose. And so for Leo risings, you may have real clarity. You may have an epiphany about your career, about your job, your public sense of self, and what you are ready for now, what you are ready to embody now. This could bring an adjustment, right, to your career. But I feel overall that this is going to align you with who you are now, your more authentic self, right? Because ultimately, Uranus wants to liberate us from conditioning. That is true freedom, when we can be our authentic selves. And so however this is showing up in your public persona and or a career that you have, may come in as a bolt, or it may be just real clarity at the time of this full moon. It's being illuminated for you, right? And you may feel that you are completing something, or that you just have real clarity and it's being illuminated for you now, where you are awakening to a new level in who you are in the world and also in your career space. Okay, so now we are going to move on to our Virgo risings. And for Virgo risings, this full moon in Taurus conjunct Uranus is happening in your 9th house. And so this is really going to be, I feel, for the Virgo risings, like a real big awakening, like, because the 9th house is about expansion of your beliefs. Okay, yes, it can be about world travel, absolutely, and that may be playing out quite literally for some of you. But again, that is going to expand you, right? And with Uranus here bringing clarity, bringing liberation, bringing awakening, I feel for the Virgo risings out here, you're really going to have a whole new awakening of your beliefs, your perspectives, a higher perspective, that eagle's eye view, being able to see things in your own life, right? Yes, in the world, but also in your own life from that higher perspective. And that is going to give you freedom. That is going to free you from lower feelings of maybe sadness or confusion or uncertainty, and that feeling of uneasiness that you may feel around that. I think that when we are able to zoom up into the higher perspective, it is quite liberating, because we're not so tied down to the valley that we can only see when we are looking through our human perspective. So I do feel that this Uranus conjunct the full moon in Taurus, you're really going to be embodying, you're going to be able to embody and apply it to your life, whatever these new perspectives are opening up for you. It's going to be quite tangible for you and help you shift in very tangible ways in your life. Okay, so now we are going to move on to our Libra risings. And for Libra rising, this full moon in Taurus conjunct Uranus is happening in your 8th house. So for my Libra risings, 8th house is the house of depth. It is the house of death and rebirth. And that can play out literally. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It can play out literally death. Oftentimes it is with someone else in your life. So just honor if that is something that you are experiencing now. But it can also quite metaphorically play out with a death of a sense of yourself, a version of yourself, and you are ready for that rebirth, because Uranus is bringing the awakening for you. And so whatever version of yourself that is complete now, because the 8th house is one of the houses of karma, and so this could be a big karmic cycle ending for you. You feel that you are just done, you are complete with certain patterns, whether that involves others or not. Oftentimes in the 8th house, it does include others. And especially for Libras, it usually does include others. And so you can feel like you really are complete with someone else, with a relationship to an institution even. It doesn't always have to play out with a person. It could be a system, a structure. But Libras, you allow whatever is done to be done. Do not white knuckle it. Don't hold on. Let go as best you can and go up to that higher perspective that Uranus is offering you so that you can feel more grounded and trust the path, and always remember whatever is ending, that clears the way for something new and beautiful to begin. So now we're going to begin, now we're moving to Scorpio rising. Scorpio rising. So Scorpios, this Taurus full moon conjunct Uranus, this is happening in your sister sign. So if you are a Scorpio rising, this means this is happening in your 7th house of relationships, one-on-one relationships. Oftentimes marriage, but it doesn't have to be, obviously, right? Not everybody's married. This can simply be any one-on-one relationship in your life. It could be a friendship. It could be a work colleague relationship. But it's usually a significant relationship in the 7th house, not like an acquaintance per se. But I'm not going to rule that out, okay? Because sometimes profound messages and shifts can happen even in more subtle ways and from more subtle messengers, if you will. So for the Scorpio risings, this full moon conjunct Uranus, I think it's going to really awaken you to those one-on-one relationships in your life that you are complete with. It's done. The energy is dissipated. It's just not there. It's not embodied anymore, right? In that Taurus energy. And you have clarity. Uranus is bringing the clarity. Uranus is bringing that freedom, that liberation. And so I would also say that this full moon illumination, right? And Uranus bringing in the freedom, the liberation, the awakening, the seeing, can bring in someone new into your life. And so it could go either way. It could go both ways. Just trust for however this is resonating for you. But with Uranus here, it's going to be pretty clear for you at this time what you are either complete with in your one-on-ones, or if someone new is coming in. And with Uranus here, you want to ask, what is this person here to teach me? What are they here to awaken within me, right? Because everyone is a mirror for us. And if this is happening in your 7th house, that is absolutely what it's here, especially with Uranus at this moon. That is a great question to ask. What is this person here to awaken within me? And how can I rise into that highest version? Okay. So now we're going to move to Sag rising. And for my Sag risings, this full moon in Taurus conjunct Uranus is happening in your 6th house. This is the house of your daily routines, your health, your purpose, being in service. And so for my Sag risings, I feel that you are going to have some real clarity around how you can be of service now at this time. You're awakening to this. You are awakening to the ways in which you can serve humanity. But of course, first and foremost, remember, you have to serve yourself and your well-being. The 6th house is very much about our well-being. It's about those daily routines, the rituals, the exercise routines, the healthy eating, perhaps the spiritual rituals, whether it's meditation or pulling cards or whatever it is for you. You really may have an epiphany around what you are ready to shift, the adjustments. Remember, the adjustments that you're ready to make in your daily routines, and perhaps the adjustments that you're ready to make in how you're going to be of service in this world, in your community, in your family, whatever it is for you. It's different for all of us. And I feel that Uranus is bringing clarity for you. I think you're going to have clarity around what's complete and you're just done with in your certain routines, and what you're willing to begin now. And how can you feel more free in those daily routines? I think that can come up for a lot of you, how you can feel more liberated in your everyday. Because, it's like I always love to share this analogy. Think of life as like a necklace, and like the everyday are just the little gold links, and then those special moments are the pearls or the gemstones, right, on the necklace, the milestones, right? But like there's no necklace without the everyday, and so the everyday matters, right? It really matters. And so just trust whatever's coming in for you, what you're awakening to about your everyday life at this full moon. Okay, and now we're going to move to our Capricorn risings. And for Capricorn rising, this full moon in Taurus, conjunct Uranus, is happening in your 5th house. Your 5th house of creativity, your 5th house of romance and fun and pleasure. The 5th house also represents children. So if you have children, or your inner child. And so with Uranus here, this is an awakening. This could be a magnificent awakening of your creativity, a new creative project or idea. This could be an awakening, a new beginning, a liberation, either if you're in a romantic relationship, or maybe you're now complete with this full moon with a relationship and you have real clarity around that. Like you really can see the whole thing now from a higher perspective. This could be playing out with your children if you are a parent, and you could see real clarity and awakening in your children. They may be bringing clarity and awakening to you. Often our children are the messengers of truth. Uranus is very much about truth. And so your children can be showing you a truth that perhaps you are not able to see before. You are ready now. You can see it. Perhaps this is going to play out with your own inner child, and that you are able to awaken to a higher perspective of what your inner child went through when he or she was little. And you are complete with that perspective. You can see it from a higher perspective now. This can really play out in so many beautiful, beautiful ways in the 5th house. And I feel overall this is a really positive energy for you, my Capricorn risings. Okay, for my Aquarius rising, this is happening in your 4th house. This let me reiterate, this Taurus full moon conjunct Uranus is happening in your 4th house of home, meaning literally where you live, your home life, your family life. It could be the literal place where you're living. It could be the home within yourself. It could be your childhood conditioning. And so with Uranus here at this full moon in Taurus, you could have a real awakening now about something from your childhood. You could be ready to release and complete some conditioning from your childhood. It just doesn't resonate with you any longer. You are liberated from it. You are free in your perspective. This could be something about your home life where you are feeling a new sense of liberation, freedom, Someone in your home could be offering you this perspective. You could be really feeling a new sense of liberation and freedom within yourself because you're able to release and let go of old conditioning from childhood. This now gives birth, this awakens a new sense of yourself. And so you are able to feel more at home and more authentically yourself. So trust whatever way, shape, or form this is showing up for you, but I do feel that there is truth here for you, in a higher perspective, perhaps that you haven't really seen before, and it's going to be really clear for you. And this is overall a really, really good thing. Now we move to our Pisces rising, and for Pisces rising, this Taurus full moon conjunct Uranus is happening in your third house of communication, siblings, other extended family, learning, writing, any form of communication. And for specifically for Pisces, since you're already so tapped in, I feel that this could be a major awakening for you in your psychic senses, in your telepathy, in your any of the clairs that you may experience. I feel that this is going to be a real jolt and a bolt of turning these gifts that you have even on more stronger, like a bolt of lightning. That's how Uranus can come in sometimes. And so for Pisces people, you're already so tapped in to the oneness, to source energy, to those higher perspectives, that this could really be an up-leveling. Now, I do want to say, the shadow side of Pisces is just the opposite, that you can wallow in victim energy. So I feel that this Uranus conjunct the moon here, you are really going to awaken out of that victim mentality if you find yourself in that at this time. That you're going to be awakening out of that energy where you're moving up a level in terms of your consciousness, and so you understand that things don't happen to you, they happen for you, for your evolution. And you have tremendous power in that. You are not a victim to anyone or anything. Absolutely not. You are empowered. And you are awakening to that beautiful power at this time. Okay, that wraps up the 12 signs. I really hope that this podcast has given you already some new perspectives, starting with that story in the beginning of the power of maybe. I really want to thank you so much for your time, for your energy, for tuning in, for leaving a comment, for liking and subscribing, and for sharing with others who may benefit from this information. I'm wishing you all a beautiful week. I will be back next week because I want to do a podcast on Pluto moving into Aquarius and where this is showing up in your chart. So look out for that. And thank you so much. Sending you all so much love, and I'm wishing you a beautiful full moon in Taurus. And I will see you soon under the moon. Bye-bye for now.